All right, let's get some 4x4s. There you go. 5x5s maybe. Okay. Okay. Well, it's waiting on the computer screen. Jacob says 5x5, and here comes my screen so I can see me. Robert Finley. Okay, Krista, Lorna, Healthy Disrespect, Your Average Grounded Player. There's a new name. These Crafts, another one. All right, Terry Moorhead. Okay, cool. So you guys can see me and hear me. Good deal. And I decided to get a little Stevie Ray Vaughan going on tonight for the hat. So one of y'all sent me this. I think it's a great hat. I love this thing. It piss people off when I wear this one. All right. Happy Saturday. Hope you guys had a productive day. It was kind of funny around here. I got up this morning, still canning potatoes. I got another 7 quarts, but I think that's it. Everything else I've got, I'm going to save for seed potatoes for next year. And then decided it was time to get out and work in the garden and get my fall planting of cabbage and beets in, right? Because, it's mid-August, and that way I've got a late October, early November harvest for both of them, which is good. We were supposed to get a little rain around 1 o'clock or so. Figure this will be perfect. I'll get the seeds in, they'll get watered right away, and everything will be good. So, well, typical Weather Channel, what was originally predicted to be showers turned out to be a freaking downpour. We got an inch of rain in 45 minutes. So I don't know if my seeds washed anywhere or whatever it would be. So we'll see what happens. I may have the world's most crooked rows, but I've still got in 50 cabbage plants and about 150 beet plants. And I know most of you guys don't like that stuff, but around this house, we eat a lot of borscht, and you need cabbage, and you need beets, and you need potatoes. And trust me, we got plenty of potatoes. Now I need the other two. So that was that. So I got a funny story for you. This happened last night. We went out to dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Mountaintop Preps, and we decided, hey, we're going to go into town and get some ice cream afterwards. This great, exciting evening. Go out and have Mexican food and then go get ice cream, right? When you get old, right? And so we all decided to stop at Walmart on the way back. So, hey, couples night out, let's go to Walmart. Living in the country. And so we're walking around, and I get a kick out of it because, the girls each go 2 different ways. He goes a different way. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to stand here in the middle and everybody can find me, right? That was it. And all of a sudden, about 5 minutes in, near the front door, we're maybe 50 feet from the front door, I hear somebody yell, "Help!" I'm like, it was interesting. I ran toward the door. Mrs. Mountaintop Preps had her gun in hand. But it was funny watching all the people run the other way. And it really told me a lot about society. That when shit hits the fan, who's going to run toward the problem and who's going to run away from it? Now, it's not an exercise you can go out and practice. I would not advise anybody to go into a Walmart and yell help. It turned out the guy was joking, stupid joke, okay? But it was interesting to see the response of people. I really wish I had a camera on all of that. That would have been very interesting. But just something that really opened my eyes. How many cowards there are in this country that may say, "Oh, I'm Billy Badass," until the rubber meets the road and they're hiding in a corner somewhere. Just say. So, something to think about. Just, remember that the next time there's trouble around you. All those people that say, I've got your back. Yeah, they've got your back because they won't be in front of you. All right. The other one, this is fun. You guys ask me questions all the time. My answer's always been crystal ball's still in the shop. Can't get parts from China. Go figure. One of y'all decided to help me out. I have a new crystal ball. I have a crystal ball. So if you have questions and I don't have the answers, I can now come up with the answer for it. I thought that was great. Just very, very. The Find a Magic 8 Ball was hilarious. I got that in the mail yesterday. I was like, "You got to be kidding!" I was rolling laughing for about 2 minutes. So then I showed it to Mrs. P, and she's like, "You've got to be kidding me!" She was laughing hysterically too. So it was fun. But yeah, the only big piece of news for a Saturday, if you guys caught this one, gee, here's a surprise. Articles of impeachment have been filed against Joe Biden for what, the 50th time, and McCarthy probably won't vote on this one either. So we'll see what happens because we have to do more investigations, because we don't have enough evidence already. I mean, Christ, they, indict Trump over Adam Schiff going, hell, I've got proof. Nobody ever saw it. Congress is going, okay, public, here's the proof. But we won't do anything about it. So, all right, but that was it. So, that was the excitement today. Not anything of any big fun, but yeah, of course, no sooner did I get everything planted today and it poured rain, like I said. So, I'm hoping to God I don't have stuff all over the place. But if I do, I do. That's it. Other than that, something that this time of year guys start doing, okay, your grass clippings, the stuff that you've harvested, you're done with your onions or you're done with, I don't know, pick something, whatever plants have done their time, for me, like my corn, specifically where I'm doing this. This is a good time of year to start dumping all those grass clippings on your beds. I got that all done a couple of days ago. Today, I was taking shredded junk mail, shredded newspaper, anything like that, and putting that on top of the grass clippings. Grass clippings are a nitrogen source. Paper is a carbon source. I am creating compost right in place. That will all sit to compost over the winter, and by springtime, a lot of it will be done, and the rest of it will be still grass clippings or whatever it is, and it'll get tilled in. But this is the time now to start, believe it or not, prepping your beds for next year. If you're putting your beds to bed, give them a blanket. All right, let's get into Q&A tonight. This should be fun because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I don't care if we want to talk about Maui, we want to talk about today's videos. I hope to get in regards to today's video. Seeing a lot of you guys watched the morning video, and you didn't pick up on the second part of it. There was a 2-part video today, and it wasn't planned to be that way. It just wound up because we got answers to my questions. But if you haven't picked the second part of the video, the one I put up about 10 o'clock Eastern this morning, go read that one or go watch that one. That one's very enlightening. And I thank Carolyn for the info that she gave me because that answered all the questions. Okay. We are being played with, and we were able to prove it. So, all right, let's get into Q&A. I'll go over this for all those of you that are new. For those of you that have been here for years at this point, bathroom break, go grab a beer, ice cream, iced tea, whatever it would be. Okay. If you have a question for me, please put it in all caps, pretty much like every other YouTube channel out there. Okay. However, I'll also say this. Please, I encourage everybody, have conversations in the chat. Pay attention to the chat as well, because there's a lot of good information that comes from the chat. I'd say probably 20% of the videos I create come from ideas from you guys asking me to look into something. But I don't have all the answers. Never claimed to. But I'm betting pretty much between all of us in the chat, we got 99.9% of them. Okay. So if you've got a question for me, I may not have the answer, but I'll bet you somebody else in here does. So pay attention to what's going on there. Just all I say is if you're having a conversation amongst yourselves, please keep that in lowercase. It just makes it easier for me to zip through the questions and answer the ones that are directed to me. Okay. The one thing I require, and This is non-negotiable. Okay. Treat each other with respect in here. And lately, we've been pretty good. I haven't seen a whole lot of the moderators really have to crack the whip. But if y'all been around here long enough, you know the moderators that we have on this channel are top notch, bar none, the best on YouTube. And I don't say that because they're on this channel. I'm saying that because I participate in other live streams and I see some crap in there. I'm going, where are the moderators? I can't, I never see the garbage in here because the mods take care of it. If you want to be rude, if you want to be obnoxious, leave. Simple as that. Because I'll tell you what, your comment won't last a millisecond before one of the moderators has zapped you. And we don't put up with any bullshit around here. So if you want to be an ass, you will be gone. Okay. It's not 300-second timeouts. It's not, gee, you shouldn't say something like that. It's just, you're out of here. Done. Okay. So disagreement is totally cool. I'm totally approve of people having different ideas. Okay. Starting it off with you're an idiot or you're an a-hole or something like that is not acceptable. So, all right. So let's see what's on your mind tonight because this ought to be interesting. All right. So let me scroll up to the top here. And guys, I'll say this, please get your questions in. Understand, I run about 15 minutes behind. There's a whole bunch of you guys asking questions. It takes me time to go through each one of them. But if you've got questions, try to get them in by about 20 to 10. That way, chances are I'll get to it. All right. Linda Bob just popped in to say hello. We'll catch the replay if I can't get back here. Having severe thunderstorms. I'm betting you're probably, maybe East Coast, Northeast, somewhere there. Unless you are Illinois or somewhere where the second wave is supposed to hit me tonight. So stay safe. Prepping for heaven. That's a great hat. Hey, one of y'all sent me this. I mean, you guys send me some great hats. I got to say that. So it's kind of fun. I like this hat. This one's cool. The feather and all. So this is actually a feather. If I remember correctly, this is a feather from one of the birds on their homestead. So I think it's kind of cool. So, it's me. Oh, tough one to say. How do I store my seed potatoes for next year? I do it different than is recommended. Okay. Everybody that I've ever seen will tell you store it in a cool, dark place. The problem when you store it in a cool, dark place, and you guys have probably all had this happen, is you go get your potatoes in the spring and you've got these white runners that are 3 feet long, right? Because it's dark. And the eyes have woke up in the spring when it gets a little bit warmer and they start going looking for light and they're all white. I know you're not going to want to do this, but this is what put it in a bedroom that you don't use. Or, I mean, we actually keep them in the living room, in a darker corner, but there's some light. Leave it with a little bit of light because what they will do is they will grow slower with green growth. And I mean, last year I had growth maybe 3 or 4 inches, okay, but it was green. And so when it came time to plant, all the plant had to do was wake up. That was it. So don't store them in a completely dark area. Store them in a low light area. It's hard to describe the light in my living room in the corner and stuff like that. It's a darker corner, but it still gets light. So, but yeah, so I have potatoes sitting in my living room all winter. It's me. I'm not exactly the typical person out there. For those of you that know me personally, you'll agree. And yes, there's a couple of people probably laughing right now. Okay, let's see. A Cushnet Prepper says, I look like the Swamp Fox. Okay, I have no idea who Swamp Fox is. I'm hoping that's a compliment. Let's see. Prepping for heaven. Going to Walmart is better than going to the movies these days. More entertainment value. Uh, it's always been the running joke about people going to Walmart in their pajamas and stuff like that. But I mean, this was another funny one yesterday. As we're going through, we've been in Walmart for 5 minutes. And mind you, this is Middlesboro, Kentucky, where we're going. So, I mean, it's 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from the house. It's 6 o'clock. They're about, now granted, it's a Friday. Okay. People got paid, so it was a little busy. I swear the guy had to be a homeless guy. Okay. Because, I mean, he's filthy and running around in pajama bottoms and a t-shirt at 6 o'clock at night, just wandering the aisles. I'm like, okay, yeah. But I mean, the entertainment value in Walmart, if you want to go people watching, go to Walmart. I mean, it's not the cross section of society. You're not gonna see the uh, James Bond, bow tie and everything walk in there. Though you could, okay, because I've seen women walk in there in cocktail dresses. I'm like, what the hell? If you're in a cocktail dress, what the hell do you possibly need in a Walmart? But it's always interesting going to Walmart. I even looked at our cart when we left yesterday, and I said to Mrs. P, not that we bought much, I said, but talk about hitting everything. I mean, we needed a new crock pot. We had that. What the hell else did we buy? Some paper products, a deodorant. I mean, it was like, okay, we had some stocking up on things that we depleted that we needed to get. I'm like, we went end to end on the store. I'm going, boy, talk about a unplanned trip. But we have holes and, you use stuff out of your preps. It's like, oh crap, we need this, it's like, all right, go buy 6 more deodorant sticks. Crap, we broke the crock pot. We need a new one, so simple. Lisa McLeod, thank you for the super chat. Please say a prayer for my sister, Kathy. She's not doing well, and I'm going to need to put her in a nursing home this next week. Please also say a prayer for me. This is going to be very hard. Lisa, that's tough. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope I'm looking at your picture, and I'm guessing sister, either much older sister or something. I'm hoping it's more of an age thing and not a medical thing, but prayers for you guys and for both you and your sister. And while we're at it, guys, another one that I wanted to mention here tonight. Y'all know Pighead Water Buffalo. I won't go into the details, but say a prayer for her too. She's going through some medical issues that were unexpected. So, when you're going through your prayer list tonight, add Pighead Water Buffalo, add Lisa, and add Lisa's sister. I greatly appreciate it. You guys are all in my prayers as well. Moving on here. Stephanie Meads, how do you can your potatoes? Dry can? Okay, do not, I repeat, do not dry can your potatoes. Okay, that is some sort of YouTube, internet sensation. It's like one of these TikTok challenges. It'll kill you, okay? When you need to can your potatoes, all right, peel them, slice them, put boiling water in them for a quart, a teaspoon of salt, process them for 40 minutes. That's it. Do not dry can your potatoes. Your potatoes will not be any good. And if you wind up eating them, you will get sick. All right. So dry canning potatoes, no. And that's not just me saying it. Okay. That's also, listen, you guys know I mention Lisa at Sutton's Days all the time. Lisa's saying the same thing. Do not dry can potatoes. That is some internet bullshit. Don't wait. All that work that you did to grow your vegetables, don't try some crazy new idea and go, crap, everything's spoiled or everything's rotten or whatever. All that work you put in is gone. You don't get it back. Okay. Do it tried and true ways. If you want to try something different, i.e., me and my stuffed peppers or something like that, I did it a couple of years ago. Wanted to see how it lasted. I tested it. It was good, and I continued. Okay. But I'll say this. Don't take everything that you see on YouTube as fact. Okay? I make mistakes too. Grow Joyfully Homestead, thank you for the super chat. You are most welcome. Thank you for even saying that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Where else are we? Susan Musser, I got lots of practice in the military and sheriff's office. The majority of people run away. Yeah. Mrs. P got pissed at me for running toward the problem, but that's just who I am. Okay. It's like, she's like, get back here. No, that's, maybe I'm an idiot. Okay. But I'm also a big guy. And, if it's somebody's got a gun, yeah, I can get shot too. Somebody's going to start a fight, I'll finish it. Let's see. John Hill, what are my thoughts on a swamp cooler with a low wattage draw for grid down situation? I did a video yesterday on why I don't recommend a swamp cooler, a window unit AC. A couple of you commented about a mini split. And a mini split is more efficient than a window AC, no question. However, because I got the question, so I went and looked this up. I didn't do another video on it, but I looked it up, and an energy efficient mini split will cost you $600 or $700, and then you've got to add the $700, $800 for a generator. You're in the same situation where it's going to cost you $1,500. Is it a better idea than a window AC? Yes. Is it going to cost you more money? Yes. I'm trying to help you guys find how do I want to put it, most cost effective, because last time I checked, we're all on a budget, most cost effective way of doing it. We're not going to have the comfortable 72-degree house that we can walk all over. It's just not going to happen that way. You're going to be freaking hot. You're going to be sweating. You're going to be walking around. You're going to have a wet towel around your neck. You're going to be fanning yourself or doing whatever. But, if you've got one little cooling zone, do it. But, these ideas that, I'm going to go out and put window ACs around. You still need power. I'm going to put mini splits up. I still need power. Okay. You got to come up with that power somehow. And so cost has to be something that we think about. If you don't have to think about cost, hey, go for it. If Jeff Bezos is watching, or Oprah Winfrey is watching, while they're trying to buy property in Hawaii right now for 30 cents on the dollar from everything that's burned down, because the communists that they are, that's one thing. But the rest of us, we have to live on a budget. Okay, answered that one. Terry Palazzo, do you think we will see a military draft? That's a made in China 8-ball. Go figure. Ask again later. Okay, I'll give you my answer on this one. If we wind up in some sort of military conflict, we pretty much don't have a choice. Okay. I mean, all branches of military missed their recruiting goals last year by about 25%. And you don't have that many people going into combat arms, if you will. All right. Again, remember when people are drafted into the military, most of them are drafted and they go in as infantry. Okay. At least that's been the history of the draft, and we haven't had it since Vietnam. But, they don't put you in and say, okay, we want to send you to medical school or something like that. They're like, okay, we're going to teach you how to shoot. We're going to teach you how to throw a grenade. You're out of here. Okay. That's it. Uh, I don't see a draft unless there is some sort of military conflict. Laura's story, do I put landscape fabric in the bottom of my raised beds before filling? No, I do not. Okay. Because I want those nutrients, those minerals that are in the natural soil to get up. I mean, again, my raised beds, how I fill them, you guys have seen. If you've watched my videos for any length of time, it's all composted material. I mean, it's horse manure, it's straw, it's grass clippings, it's leaves, it's newspaper, and I'm just building my soil over time. But the one thing that doesn't have in it is those natural minerals, the irons, the phosphorus, the stuff that's going to come up that the worms can bring. I don't want to restrict the natural mixture, I guess, if you will, of the soil. I want some of that clay in my garden soil. I want the worms to come up and mix through it. So no, on the bottom of my raised beds, no, I do not put weed fabric because, I mean, again, you don't have to get more than about 6 to 12 inches deep for a vegetable garden. Okay, just for that. But you want to bring that stuff up. So you want to plant like daikon radishes will go deep. They'll go into the native and they'll bring up all those nutrients. Sunflowers bring up all those nutrients. That's why you want to plant stuff like that because it brings those nutrients that are deep in the ground up where your plants can use them. Sherry, Florida Boss Girl, are millipedes okay for raised bed gardens? I have quite a few in my bed. Uh, Depending, yeah, I can't give you a good answer. Uh, I don't. I've got a few of them. I don't. As long as I don't see them eating my plants, I don't care. Okay. So that's pretty much Other than that, I don't want to kill the insects in there. I've got butterflies and bees throughout my yard like crazy this year, and I'm thrilled. And that's part of me planting all these flowers and everything like that because all they're doing is pollinating everything. You know, you have good bugs and bad bugs. Okay, like I had the Japanese beetles, bad bug. Okay, but ladybugs are good bugs. Praying mantises are good bugs. You look at things that'll get rid of your aphids or something. You know, work with nature. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to kill off everything in your garden because that's going to be counterproductive. The bugs and everything like that there's a lot of beneficial insects in your garden. Uh Guys, I know there was a couple of super stickers or super chats that I saw that popped up real quick, and I apologize. Uh, there, I'm not getting notifications on the top. Thanks, YouTube. I saw them. I noticed a couple of them, and I was in the middle of saying something else, and now I can't see who it is. And if I go all the way to the bottom, I can't get back to the top. Old hippie 60. Do you and Mrs. P ever go to Fremont Street when you lived in Vegas? Oh yeah, absolutely. There was a funny time. My cousin, you've heard me mention her. I mean, she's now 83, and her husband came out to visit us, and Mrs. P and my cousin wound up sitting on the penny slots. It took $1 a piece or whatever. I'll put $1 in. It's not, you don't put pennies in anymore. And Mrs. P hit the jackpot on a penny slot and won $90. So I paid for dinner that night, on penny slots. It was like, hey, cool. I put in like 50 cents, by the time she was done, she won $90. But yeah, I remember going down there. If you walk all the way to the end of Fremont Street where the stage is, God knows this is 5 years ago already, watched Theory of a Dead Man play. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to know who that band is, but it's one of the few good rock bands that has come out since 1992. thereabouts. So, RLH, tonight my power goes out from 11:30 and back on at 7:30 a.m. My generators are hooked up and ready to go here in Michigan. Good. Okay. At that time, I'm guessing most of what you're going to be doing is sleeping. But yeah, if you got the generators, that keeps the freezers frozen and the refrigerator cold. Not that you're going to need a whole lot of lights, but you ain't going to have a whole lot of food spoilage if you got generators. Way to be prepped. There you go. Good. Okay, here we go. Here's one. XNYC Prepper, $2 super sticker, super chat. God bless you, sisters and brothers. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I apologize. They're finally coming up here. So, KP Tiger, how can you can potatoes from mashed potatoes? The best way to do that would be to shred the potatoes, you're like a cheese grater or something like that, shred them and dehydrate them. Okay. And then you can basically turn them into potato flakes. And now you've got like those bagged potato flakes. That's the best way to do it so in that respect, yeah, I guess you could say you dry canned them because you dehydrated them. Because as I told you, canned potatoes or whatever to make the gummiest, starchiest mashed potatoes, they're crap. But if you dehydrate them, then you can rehydrate them and turn them into mashed potatoes. So shred them first. Honestly, probably easier just to go to the store and buy a bunch of those bags of Idaho potatoes or boxes of instant mashed potatoes. I mean, I've got buckets full of instant mashed potatoes just because they'll store for 30 years in a Mylar bag, and I can use my fresh potatoes for fresher potato type ideas. Hillbilly, howdy Pinball, love the hat. You having a cold beer tonight? I'm having a Bud Light. No, there ain't no way. Every time I go into another funny story. Okay. So I was in the store about a week or so ago, and the Bud Light distributor was in there. And so it was a gas station. And so I said to the gas station, I said, are they putting beer in or taking beer out? She goes, putting it in. I'm like, I'm surprised. I said, anybody buying it? She goes, not really. So, yeah. Nope, I'll stick with American made, thank you. And, the camouflage pattern, support the military, oldest brewery. Thank you, Yingling. Okay. Did see Leinenkugel Summer Shandy is here. Okay, I don't want lemonade, I want beer. But that was the closest I got. So, but yeah, you guys know me. It's like, I'll drink this, I'll drink the Rolling Rocker if I can find, if I could ever find real Leinenkugel. I'll drink that, but no. For American beers. Yeah. Never mind. Let's see. Still looking here. Judy Boer, you are no idiot. I hope not. Thank you. Let's see. Judy Who, does Mrs. P make salsa? We canned up, what was it, 14 quarts of salsa. The other, what day is today? Today's Saturday. I think it was Thursday we did salsa. And so I think I talked about it in a video too. It's not it's a sweet medium salsa. Again, I know you guys asked, a few of you asked when I talked about it, about putting up the salsa video, and I took some pictures or took some video of parts of it. We're just starting to get in our tomato harvest. I'm picking 6 or 7 tomatoes a day. It's not enough to make salsa in large batches yet. I figure probably in a couple of weeks I will start picking 50, 60 tomatoes a day. So then I will really be able to get into it. But yeah, I mean, we've already been doing the chili. We've already been doing the stuffed peppers and the stuffed cabbage and the salsa. It's like, okay, processing tomatoes, but we're getting them in small batches. I need large batches to make tomatoes because salsa obviously is primarily tomatoes. Okay. Limited access. What do I think about the government cloud seeding and what can we do to combat that? Okay. We've all seen chemtrails. We know they're real as much as the government tries to deny it. I mean, it's pretty hard to deny when two planes are flying basically right next to them and one has an exhaust plume and one doesn't. You know, one's spraying something and one isn't. Okay. Don't tell me that the atmosphere is different between those two planes. Right. Okay. You know, keep lying to me. Go apply for Karine Jean-Pierre's job, because if you want to be a professional liar, diversity hire press secretary is a great job for you. But what can we do to combat it? That's difficult. Okay. The cloud seeding to get it to rain, HARP or anything like that, that you could say good or bad. My concern more or less is the aluminum that they're spraying out of the sky. And the only way that you can really combat that is putting up, growing under cover. Okay. So that would mean a greenhouse, a wallopini. Okay. If you don't know what a wallopini is, basically a wallopini is an underground greenhouse. You dig out a hole 6 or 8 feet deep, like a room 6 or 8 feet deep, and then you put a slanted cover over it so the sun can get in, but it stays insulated. You can grow in it in the winter. I don't care if you're in Minnesota, you can grow in it in the winter because you're at constant temperature underground. But that's about the best way that you're going to be able to do it. It's something that we have to plan for and think about is how are you going to be able to grow under cover if they decide to completely block out the sun or poison, continue poisoning from the air or whatever. So it's a great question. I wish I had a good answer. CC, how long can the mini split run on a solar generator? Again, I need a lot more answer to that, or a lot more information for that. What mini split are you talking about? What solar generator are you talking about? I looked at the energy efficient one today that was $649 that would cool a room of 450 square feet. And it would run on it was 350 watts. So on a Delta 1300, that would run about 3 hours. Like I said, it's more efficient than a window AC, but again, it's 450 square feet. Don't get me wrong. But it's running for 3 hours. So, Patty K, thank you for the super chat. I want to thank you for the video on the AC units the other day. I purchased the EcoFlow Cold Wave for $9.49. It's on the way, hot as hell in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, so the big key to remember to this one, and you'll know it when you get the instructions, make sure you vent it. Okay, that's it. Because you want to blow the hot air outside. Now, this time of year, blow the hot air outside. You don't want to be just circulating the hot air and the cold air. You're defeating the purpose. Make sure you vent it. Okay, which is pretty simple. You can do that with a piece of cardboard. Cut a hole in the cardboard, put the vent out. It comes with all the parts, not the cardboard. Stick it out the window and you're good to go. But you'll be amazed at how well that thing works. I love using mine out in the garage. Been jamming under the hickory tree. Show us the knife. I don't know what knife you're talking about. Sorry. Gardenmatic, does Biden have a brain? Chinese 8-ball. See, this is what I get. Nothing. Trying. Even the 8-ball stumped. I guess the answer would be no. All right. My McIntyre, my grandson is already in the military. I have two others that are draft age. Okay. Like I said, unless we have unless Joe gets us into a war, which he wants to, I'm not concerned about the draft. I will say this in your case too. If you have two other kids that are draft age and it's like, hey, if I get drafted, I get drafted. If I don't, I don't, or I'm looking for a job or whatever it is. Remember this: if you get drafted, the military tells you what your job is going to be. If you enlist, you get to pick what your job is going to be. Just saying. Let's say, for example, they want to be auto mechanics or combat engineers or something like that. If they enlist, they can, provided they score high enough on the ASVAB, they can pick that training. If they're drafted, the military goes, "This is what you're going to do." So just remember that part. Susan M1224, have I seen elderberry bushes for sale around where you live? I don't look for them. At this time of year, I'm certainly not going through the nurseries. I've got a couple of elderberries. Elderberries grow quick, guys. I mean, when we bought ours, they were this big. They are now 10 feet high, and 2 years. And I mean, we've cut them back drastically, and they're still big. Let's see. Ed Kirkpatrick for the Christmas Fund. Okay, Ed, good thing you said something. I want to say something here because I'm in your jalapeno contest. I may send Mr. and Mrs. Mountaintop Preps jalapenos. My jalapenos look like shit, but his are good this year. So I don't want whatever the prize is, but he's got good ones, and so just so there's some competition to see what good ones. I may convince him to do that. Let's see. Nanny Tam, funny, Mr. P. I grew up without air conditioning. I remember my uncle paying me a nickel to fan him. I could just see it. If you had to feed him grapes too, then we might have a child abuse deal. Let's see. Krista Cat, can I buy bait worms and introduce to raised garden beds, fresh topsoil in them now? Yeah, absolutely. Go buy some red worms or go buy some night crawlers or whatever it is, and throw them in your garden bed. I do that. I throw them in my compost pile. That's great. Everybody says, "Oh, those aren't the right kind of worms." They're worms. They go in the dirt. Okay, they eat. I mean, when I was out with putting my cabbage seeds in and everything like that today, I took a half-gallon jug of my coffee ground eggshell, chicken bone, banana peel mix, then sprinkled it all over first. I'm feeding the worms. Why? Because the worms love to eat that stuff. They'll find it and everything like that, and I get worm castings. Okay. Yes, worms are good. Introduce worms to your garden. It doesn't matter what kind you get. Red worms, wax worms, night crawlers, whatever would be. They'll figure it out. Okay, we just shot to the bottom. Back to the top, or as far as I can get. G&J's Mimi says, millipedes will eat into your potatoes. They also help break down mulch. Okay, breaking down mulch is absolutely true. Eating into the potatoes, okay. They haven't done it to me, so I can't say yay or nay. Prep Rebel, thank you for the super chat for my next date night with Mrs. B for your next shipping costs. Your choice. Love the community. Thank you very much. We'll have to ask Mrs. P when the next date night is because she's like, I don't know. We went to some little Mexican hole in the wall yesterday, it was okay. There's a better one in town, but finding Mexican food in Tennessee, in rural Tennessee, but there's actually a good one in Maynardville. But thank you for that. That's funny. Let's see. Gigi, I found fuzzy white caterpillars on my comfrey. Are they bad for him? I don't know what kind of caterpillars those. I've never had caterpillars on my comfrey. Uh, that's if you don't know, the fuzzy ones like that, I'd probably get rid of them. They're gonna probably eat the comfrey. So yeah, I wouldn't spray them. I mean, if they're what I'm thinking they are, they're big enough. Just get yourself a cup, put a little bit of soapy water in the bottom of it, scrape it off with a spoon or whatever into the cup of soapy water. That'll kill them, and then go get rid of them. Uh, Hillbilly, put clean cardboard in the bottom of your raised beds. Worms love it. Yes, clean cardboard is a much better idea than weed barrier because it does disintegrate. It will, the plastic won't, but the cardboard will. I mean, when I went over my old beet crop and my corn, I had put cardboard over it. Then I dumped the grass clippings on. Then I dumped the newspaper shreddings on it today. So yeah, why? Because it will kill all the weeds and it'll decompose. It's just more carbon to mix with the nitrogen that you're putting in there. So yeah, and it'll turn into soil. It's John. Crystal Magic 8 Ball. Has Biden ever spoke the truth or said something intelligent? Well, I don't need the 8 Ball for that one. The answers are no and no. Not in 50 years. Finley the dog. Do you remove the membrane from the eggshells to use for tomato plants? Okay. So I've done a video on this before, but what I do with my eggshells, because you've got, if when you hard boil an egg and it's got that thin, almost like plasticky thing on the outside. You peel that besides the shell, okay? But then that's a membrane. When you crack the egg open, that membrane is still in the egg. So what you need to do is bake the eggshells first to dry out that membrane because that membrane actually will act as a deterrent in your garden. So if you bake it out, you'll dry it up and you're all good. Then as you've seen me do many times, is I show you I grind up everything you can do it with. I do it with a blender. You can do it with a mortise and pestle. You can do it with a rolling pin, in a sandwich bag or whatever it would be, to get it as if you're going to spread the eggshells directly in, like I do for this. Get it as fine as you can into a powder, okay, and put it in. Silver Graham, thank you for the super chat. I've lived in Florida since 1986, but the one thing I really miss is seeing lightning bugs. Do you have them in Tennessee? Love the previous person's idea for the Christmas fund. Yes, we do have lightning bugs, and I will tell you this: I was absolutely thrilled when I saw them because I hadn't seen lightning bugs since I was a teenager in Michigan, and again, we got out in the country, and I mean, before the live stream, before the live stream started tonight. I sat out on the porch from 8 o'clock till about 8:45. No lightning bugs tonight. It's too wet, but I love just sitting out there. It's no noise, lightning bugs. Maybe I'll hear a frog, crickets, the birds chirping. That's it. Okay, but yeah, seeing lightning bugs around here, yes, we do. Brian B. got tomato caterpillars this year. Have I had to deal with them before? Oh, yeah, almost every year. And the easiest thing to do is to get some BT. I've talked about this many times before. You can buy it on Amazon. It's a little thing that basically I think it's by Bear. Everybody asks all the time. But it's a green bottle. It basically says, if you look up on Amazon, Caterpillar Killer, okay, that's it. It's a concentrate. You mix it in a spray bottle. You spray it on the tomatoes. You're good. Done. Okay. And BT is organic, so don't worry about putting chemicals or anything like that in there. But yeah, tomato caterpillars, tomato hornworms, anything like that. It works on cabbage worms, whole 9 yards. But yeah, BT is something that you definitely need in your arsenal. Combating destructive bugs in your garden. LC, FYI, my son sent me 20,000 ladybugs for my BD to kill aphids. They flew off and left the aphids. Yes, they had water. Not a big surprise. Okay. Selling bugs like that is the biggest scam out there because the bugs are going to go back to, I mean, you think of your birds, your bugs, or do the butterflies stay in your backyard all winter? No. Okay. The bees or whatever it is, they go back home. The ladybugs are the same way. They're like, okay, this isn't our environment. We're going somewhere that's more adaptable for our life. So they go home. You know, think I live in Nome, Alaska. And somebody sent me ladybugs. Gee, the ladybugs didn't work. I wonder why. Okay. Again, bugs are not going to just stick around. They go, oh, this is our new home. Look at these are our property lines. This is where we're going to. No. They're like, we're out of here. mm. Mama Bear, hey Pinball, could you wish my little boy a happy 10th birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mama Bear's little boy. Happy birthday to you. Grow up to be smart and listen to your mother. And pay attention for Santa Claus. Let's see. Healthy disrespect for authority. If you put worms in grow bags or pots, do they stay? Pretty much, because it's hard for them to get out. And as long as they have something to eat and a little bit of moisture, they're good. Okay. So again, this is where you go back to the eggshells, the coffee grounds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be food there. If they've got a comfortable environment, they're going to stay. If there's no food, if there's no moisture, they're going to leave. If they've got what they need, they're like, hey, this is cool. So, yeah. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Elidwin Mar. I am shopping for a generator to run on my house propane. Suggestions, Generac? Okay, I'm not going to downplay a Generac by any means. I'm just going to give you, and maybe this has changed, okay? They are expensive. They are good. Don't get me wrong. Depending on where you live, find out how long it's going to be able to take to get that one installed. I called here a couple of years ago on one for us, and they told me it was going to be about 6 months before they could come out and install it. One of my neighbors got one installed, waited the 6-7 months or whatever it was to install it, and now he can't get it hooked up because where we are, the nearest guy to hook it up who's licensed to hook it up is in North Carolina, and he won't come here. Okay, so he's got this $13,000 generator system that doesn't even work. Okay, make sure you do all your homework, all your I's are dotted, all your T's are crossed. You talk to everybody, that you do not pay a penny until you can shut off the main circuit breaker and that thing will run your house. And then again, you guys know me, propane's a great backup. What's your backup to that? Because in an SHTF situation, there ain't a propane truck coming to fill it up, and now you got a $13,000 paperweight sitting out in your backyard. Okay. So, great idea to have for a short-term month-long power outage. Anything longer than that, what's your backup to that? KRFJR, Leinenkugel's Barry Weiss. I've had Barry Weiss beers before, Barry Weiss beers. They're good. I've never had Leinenkugel's. Scott Langoff, I'm working on some original Leinenkugel's beer for you. God, that would be awesome, dude. Let's see. Tom Mierzwinski, there's Leinenkugel in Knoxville. Please tell me where, what store. I'd love to know because I can't find it. Uh, DB Pinball, did you see the bud tented Sturgis? Yes, no visitors. This was hilarious. If you guys don't know what Sturgis is, okay, Sturgis is like one of the biggest motorcycle festivals in the world. All right, and I mean, there's tens of thousands of bikers that will go up there, and I mean, it's not Hell's Angels and everything like that. Sure, there's probably some of those, but I mean, it's your Joe average bikers. It's just a huge bike festival. And there was I think it was Friday, maybe it was Thursday. Bud Light or Budweiser paid, it was Budweiser, paid to sponsor a big beer tent. There wasn't a freaking single person there. You know, you figure a bunch of bikers. I think about it. This is how tone deaf the folks at Budweiser are. A bunch of bikers. Which one of them wants to be walking around with that can of Budweiser going, yeah, I support men being women. Yeah. You ain't going home, dude, unless it's in a bag. Uh, Buzzard Prepper, have you done any fish catching preps, i.e., catching crappie in the lake and vacuum sealing fillets? I probably will in the fall. It's been too damn hot to fish out here lately. You know, when I'm getting up in the morning and it's 78 degrees or whatever it is, you know, at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's a little too hot to fish. As it cools down a little bit, I will get a better chance to go out fishing. Trust me, I want to. My fishing poles are sitting right, I mean, they're 3 feet away from me, uh, ready to go, because I know a lot of you have asked me for videos on how to fillet a fish or how to smoke a fish or do whatever it would be. Uh, I mean, it'd be nice to get one out there catching a fish. I've been out twice this year so far. Had a good bass on, lost it. Uh, but yes, I'm figuring probably, yeah, we're probably not talking 3 to 4 weeks, and the weather should hopefully cool off a little bit. You know, if I can get those 70-degree days and 60-degree mornings, then it's good for fishing. Uh, Prep Rebel, what else do I plant for my fall garden? I'm looking for ideas. Okay. Uh, all I'm planting this year are cabbage and beets, and I planted, like I said, a boatload of them. Other things that you can plant, any of your brassicas, so your broccolis, your cauliflowers, your Brussels sprouts, red cabbage, green cabbage, anything like that, that works. Radishes, radishes, you can have a crop of radishes in about 35 days. Okay. Peas, you can plant peas. You might actually, yeah, I'd say depending on where you are. For me, right now, be a good time to plant peas. I'm in zone 6B. Okay. So if you're in a higher zone, 7 or something like that, wait a little bit longer. If you're in a lower zone, get the stuff in the garden, in the ground tomorrow, because you're trying to uh, beat the cold. Then you can also plant your leafy greens. If you like Swiss chard, if you like spinach, if you want to grow lettuce, things like that. So, you know, your brassicas, your leafy greens are what you want to be planting around now for a fall crop. Limited access. How can we run a solar generator in a 6x5 balcony southern facing? Well, the fact that you're southern facing is awesome, because you either want your solar panels to face south or east. So if you 6 foot by 5 foot, okay, I mean a set of panels. I mean, you're not going to. You're How do you want to do this? When you're saying 6 foot by 5 foot, I'm going to take that you're talking about square footage. Okay, so horizontal, you know, 6 foot by 5 foot, which is fine. So even if it's the 5 foot wide facing south, a foldable solar panel that will get you 120 watts, the ones I like, okay, maybe about 4 feet long. You could put one on the ground. You could also put a couple of hooks up on the top and hang it, so you could get so you could pull 240 watts out of that. Maybe you could even drop a third one in there and have two vertical and then one at a 45, that would work. So maybe you can get 360 watts. But if you're southern facing, that's the way you want to be. If you were telling me you were north or west, that would be a problem. But south or east is the way you want to face. Celine 77 star 99. How to get rust off of garden tools accidentally left outside. Go buy a couple of bottles of vinegar, pour it in a 5-gallon bucket, and I mean, I'm assuming you're talking like a shovel or a rake or something like that. But a couple of bottles of vinegar, pour it in there, let it soak overnight, and you're good. Vinegar will take it right off. Yeah, I mean, you go spend the money on WD-40 or whatever it is, but vinegar used to be a hell of a lot cheaper. I think it was what, $2.29 a gallon when I bought it the other day. All right, $5 to save your tools, great. The other thing is you could always get just a little Dremel tool or a wire brush and put it on your drill and just take it off that way too. Okay. Either way will work. If you want to do a little bit of labor, do the drill. If you just want to soak it. You might have to do both anyway, but either one of those ways would work. Nostradamus, so nothing proves Biden has no brain. No, everything proves Biden has no brain. I mean, him waking up in the morning proves he has no brain. It's like, Jill, where are my shoes? They're on your hands, Joe. They belong in your feet. Dumbass. Kathy, do you need an extra battery for the EcoFlow Wave 2? No, you don't need one, but it's definitely good to have because that's going to extend your cooling time. If you can get 8 hours on low and I can get 16 hours if I have the extra battery, or I think it's like 14 hours or something like that. Don't quote me on that one. Again, I've said this many times before. Start with the basics and add onto it. Okay, I'll use my same analogy. Somebody wants to save for this, $1,000 pistol they have. Fine, go buy a $300 one now. Have something and save for the $1,000 pistol, and now you got two. But you got something now, because when somebody breaks into your house tonight, you don't go, damn it, I was only $400 away from protecting my family. Same thing with the generator. It's like the AC. Get the AC, and if you got to save up for 3 months to get the battery, then get the battery 3 months from now. That's fine, big deal. But yeah, the more you can add, the better you are. Brenda Hoffer, gas is $4 in the Black Hills. Gas was $3.29 here today when I went into town, or yesterday when I went into town. Linda Friesen, it has to float up to the window to be read. Okay, it's floated up to the window, and I've got an edge. So yeah, it doesn't do me any good if it, they don't. It's not like the old ones I remember that had some weight to it. I mean, but I think it's hilarious that somebody actually still makes them. I just wish they weren't made in China, because made in China means it doesn't work. Oh, it's me. Someone is referring to the Crocodile Dundee. Show us the knife. You call that a knife? Yeah, I remember that scene. So kid pulls out a switchblade or a butterfly knife or something like that, and Paul Hogan whips out, big old K-bar or whatever he had. And was like, yeah, okay. LC, what is the draft age? I believe it's 18. Do they still honor the one son stays home rule? That I don't know. Let's see. Debbie Parks, what does Mrs. P like to do on Saturday nights when you're talking to us? She's probably watching a movie right now or reading a book or doing something like that. Oh shit, it's 10:04. That tells you how much fun we're having. I just kind of went right over the top, didn't even pay attention to that. Linda Friesen, I found elderberry growing wild hiking near Otter Creek in Tennessee. Well, that's cool. I mean, if you can dig up a little bit without getting in trouble, take it home. And I'll find one more. We'll do it at 10:05. Robert Bates, pinballer, are your goji berry plants flowering? I haven't looked at them. Uh, my gojis didn't do well. I think I planted them in the wrong spot when I finally put them in. Uh, Last time I looked at them, they looked pretty sick. So uh, hopefully, I mean, I think I got maybe too much of a shaded area, but it's what happens when I got 80 some odd trees in my yard still. So, all right, guys, I definitely overkill. Thank God nobody's following me tonight, but we'll see y'all in the morning. Have a good one. Pinball out.